So typically I'm reading a book to y'all, right? I'm like analyzing, breaking something down, giving y'all my commentary. But today I have something a little different for y'all, a little special, a little personal, a little intimate, right? Some tea. No, it's not any tea. But anywho, today's topic, I'm going to dive into my social media detox that I had. So if you follow me on Instagram, you may or may not have noticed. I know some people did notice, and they mentioned it to me. That I took 7 weeks off of Instagram, and that was the longest that I had personally done it. I know it's a thing; some people do it, but it was the first time that I made it my thing, right? So people were wondering, they were curious, like, why did I do it? But then, more interestingly to me, people were asking me, like, how did I feel about it? How was my experience? So I was like, you know what? Other people might want to know, other people might be curious about trying it, or other people may have done it and just be curious to, compare my experience to theirs. Whatever the case may be, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna share. I'm gonna do a video, I'm gonna share, because when I did share with people, I feel like they feel like it was kind of, profound, and they was like, it was a good conversation. And I like having intellectual, mentally stimulating type conversations. So let's dive into it. First, before I tell y'all the 7 things that, I hate the word things, it's so vague. So I guess the 7 most valuable lessons, for lack of a better term, 7 most valuable insights that I learned from my social media detox. That's what I'm going to share with y'all. I want to explain why I did it. And I think my why is just as important, because I feel like when a lot of the times when people decide to take a social media detox, I usually hear that it's because, something negative has happened. Or maybe they're having some mental challenges as far as like comparison, depression, maybe a breakup, but like there's always something negative tied to it. And that wasn't my cause. That wasn't my reason. I stepped away from social media, Instagram in particular, because that's the platform that I was spending most of my time on when it came to social media. Because I wanted a reset, really. I just wanted a reset, and I felt sick of being marketed to. I felt sick of people trying to influence me to do things, whether that's on a conscious or subconscious level. And I just wanted to hear my own thoughts. Like, that's what I said. I'm like, it just was getting too loud for me. Like, I just wanted to hear my own thoughts. I didn't want any room for error or confusion. Like, did I make this decision because of something that I subconsciously like picked up on, or am I buying this or doing this or thinking this because someone influenced me on there? Like, I just was like, I can't hear myself think, it's too loud, right? So that's the main reason I stepped away. And also I got bored with it. I'm not gonna lie, I got bored. It's one thing when I have a business venture. I've had a few business ventures. So when I'm using it for that purpose, when I'm trying to promote something, when I'm trying to market something, right? Market to people, influence people to do something, then it's different because I have a clear objective. But when I don't, it's just like, it's whatever. It's a free for all. Like, I could be looking at some vegan, plant-based recipes. I could be looking at some herbs one minute. I could be looking at like somebody's outfit the next minute. Like, I could be looking at conspiracy theories. I could be looking at books. Like, it's a free for all, right? So I just was like, now I'm low-key bored with it. Like, nah. So those were the reasons why I decided to do the detox. No sadness, no depression. And I'm not saying that those are like negative or bad reasons. That just wasn't the space that I was in, and that's not where my decision came from. So now that we jumped into the why, let me tell y'all about my actual lessons, right? Okay. And I gotta look at them. So number 1 kind of ties into my why, but the, I guess, biggest piece of confirmation that I got from that is that I could hear myself think more clearly. So that was like the number 1. And I thought it would lead to that. So it's just confirming that is what it led to for me. Like, when I stepped away, and I'm not going to lie, day 1 was the hardest. I feel like with anything, the first day is the hardest. I deleted the app. That was the first time I deactivated my page. Like, I've deleted the app before and taken like a day or so off. But that was the first time I actually deactivated my page. Do you know your girl reactivated her page in the same day? I sure did. So that was rough on day 1, but it was out of habit. Like, I was at work and I got bored, and I'm like looking at my phone. I started playing my little brain game, but I'm like, all right, bro, now what? So that's what happened the first day. Well, then after that, I'm like, Trinity, no, like, you're gonna really do this. And I would say by day 3 is when it became easy for me. And I'm like, man, every thought was, for the most part, as far as I know, more of my thoughts were mine now. There could be some subconscious something out there influencing me, right? But I felt like my thoughts were mine, and I could think clearly, I could think straight. There was no confusion. I didn't want any outside input unless I was seeking it. That's another thing. Like with social media, I feel like it's easy to see stuff and pick up on stuff, and it's not necessarily someone directly giving you advice or input. Like if I were to have a conversation with my friend and like seek their advice, or they just give some advice, versus like I've read a post, or I've just like watched a reel or a video or something, and now it's like this outside input that is subconsciously influencing my thoughts and my decisions. I didn't want that. I'm like, you know what? All of my decisions, everything, like I want to know that it's for me. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm moving and grooving. So that's number 1. Number 2, it was easier to be more present. I feel like that sounds like a no-brainer, but just experiencing it for 7 weeks really was, once again, confirmation. I'm like, okay, I really am, like when I'm going out to eat with my friends, or even at work in certain scenarios, I'm not gonna lie, especially with the way my mind be working, a lot of conversations do not stimulate me, and I'll be bored, so I'll check out. I'm just like, okay, they're not talking about nothing, and I'm in my phone, and it's an easy way to like tune out, because I'm not stimulated by what you're talking about. So it was easier to be more present, even if it was a conversation that I wasn't necessarily stimulated by. It's just a courtesy. Like somebody's talking to you, or you're in a group conversation, like be present. Even if it's not what you want to talk about, be present. At least pay attention, give that person that courtesy, that respect. And just in my like day-to-day activities, I realized how present I was as far as like cooking and cleaning. I'm just like, all right, like this is kind of not cool. Like it's fun, but I'm just like, dang, like you really can do this, huh? Like you can just wash the dishes. You're not like looking at your phone. You can't just like cook. You're not like stopping and getting on Instagram. It's just like, no, you just spent like X amount of time cooking, X amount of time cleaning, and that was the task. Especially times like now where I feel like there's this huge fight for our attention span. I know mine has decreased drastically, so seeing that I could pay attention and focus on certain things for a long duration of time, that was a refreshing feeling. Like, okay, you still got that in you, sis. You can still do that. So that was great. Just seeing that it was a lot easier to be more present, because I don't have my like obvious go-to distraction. And I was going to say something about flow and creativity. I still will. But I feel like with those types of tasks, unlike washing the dishes, and for me, cooking could be something creative depending on who you are. But for me, I'm just like following the recipe gang. With those flow and creativity type of situations, I lose track of time, right? Because it's flow, I'm in the moment. It's easy to be present. Whereas something like that's just a task, a chore, I feel like those are times when I'm not as present as I could be. And not being on social media created that environment for me. Number 3, I realized how much, and I thought this, but I didn't know, but I realized it confirmed that I don't naturally care. And I'm not trying to sound like egotistic or like an a-hole or anything when I say this, but like this, I'm being sincere. I don't naturally care or wonder what most people are doing. I just happen to watch their stories because I'm there on Instagram. And even like, I don't know if a lot of people are like this, I don't know. But even when I do be on Instagram, I don't be watching people's story like that, because I genuinely don't care what you're doing on a random Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I'm not wondering about it. I'm not thinking about it. And for the people that I want to know that I do care, I have their phone number. Like I can reach out to them and ask them. So that was confirmation for me. And feel how you want to feel about it. I realized you really don't care, bro. Like you wasn't being like, there was no ego involved or nothing. It's like most of these people on social media, I don't know like that. And then my friends who I do know like that and do care about, I talk to them, I reach out to them, And then when I'm not, like I'm genuinely just like I'm in my own world. Like I'm not worried about what you're doing right now. And that is okay. But I feel like when it's in front of you like that, there's like this sense of obligation to like watch, to engage, right? Let me engage with their story. Let me engage with their content. Let me engage with their posts. And naturally, in my natural state, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I'm thinking about. Like, I'm not thinking about what you're doing and what you have going on. And contrary to popular opinion, I think that's okay. Like, when I'm not on that app, it's like, I'm chilling. Like, if you hit me up, now I do care. So if you, like, ask me to look at something or you send me something, that's a different story. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't care about what you're doing. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying just on my day-to-day, bro, I'm not worried about you. And the people I don't know, like, I really, really, really don't care. Like, I'm not on there watching their stuff. And it's okay if you don't care about what I'm doing either. Like, I don't know. It made me think back to childhood. And it was like, I had my few friends that I'll call on the phone, like, hey girl, what you doing? And it was when we had house phones, right? So I'm aging myself a bit. But when we had house phones, when I didn't have a cell phone, and when they weren't a thing, and I would think, like, at school, I would see them in the classes, in the hallways. I go home, I spend time with my family, I eat my dinner, I do a little homework, I might go outside and play with some friends. I'll call them, and that was it. Like, outside of that, I'm not thinking about them. Like, I'm going on with my life and my day. And it just reminded me of how peaceful that feeling was. Like, not having the sense of obligation to care about what other people are doing all day, to engage with what they are doing all day, to, like, I don't know. It was refreshing. Like, I'm low-key missing it now. Because when I'm on there, I feel a sense of obligation. Like, oh, shoot, let me, like, see what they got going on. And don't want them to feel a way that I'm not, doing this, that, and the third. So, but no, for me, I don't gotta care. I don't. And that 7 weeks showed me that. They're like, no, you don't gotta be just on here. But I'm clearly I'm passionate about that topic. But no, think back to, like, your childhood. I feel like it was a freeing feeling almost now to, like, when I want to talk to them, I'll call them. Like, when I'm not at home, they can't even reach me. Like, that felt good, too. Like, I remember for the longest, my granny would not let us buy her a cell phone for years. She's like, I don't want that tracking device on me all day. I feel her. I understand what she meant now, because it's like, when she was gone from the house, don't call her. Don't bother her. Like, I am out. Like, when I get back, then you can access me. In the meantime, in between time, leave me alone. And I feel it. Like, and now I get it. Because at the time, I'm like, girl, what? Like, no, like, we be needing stuff. We need to ask you questions. Like, can we have these popsicles in the freezer or not? Like, you need a phone. No, so. Yeah, it's free. It really is. Okay, I'm gonna move on because clearly I'm gonna keep talking about that. Okay, well, so we on 3, y'all. Let me see. We're on 4 now. 4. I have way more time for things than I think I do. Like, and that may sound like a given, or you might be one of the people like, I don't spend that much time on social media. For me, it was one of those things that if you were to ask me, I'd be like, nah, like, I mean, I get on it, I scroll. But to see how much time scrolling adds up to, I'm just like, when I really am spending days not on there scrolling, I'm like, dang, gang. You got a lot of time on there. Like, what you gonna do today? What do you want to do? You want to read this book? Like, you want to cook something? You want to cook 2 meals? Like, you want to catch another workout? You want to just, like, call somebody? Like, you have time, baby girl. And all that time I used to have, because in between tasks, I feel like it's so easy to, like, even if you're not just scrolling while you're doing things, in between tasks, to just take that little break. Okay, let me get a little brain break, or I'm just used to not being attentive for so long, like that attention span concept, right? And then it's like that 5-minute brain break turn into like 30 minutes, 30 minutes of scrolling on stuff, and you don't watch the video that might be like 4. So it's easy to lose track of time, and I realize how much time you're losing track of. So I realized how much time that I had, and did some things with that time. 5. 5. I am a clown. I really could not do social media if I wanted to. I'm not gonna lie. I had got to a point mentally where I was like, no, like, just 21st century, our generation, everything, like, that's life. Not it's life, but that's a part of our life. Like, that's a norm. Like, the average person, that's part of your day to day. Like, that's just a thing. And if you started doing it, if you went into that whole, I guess, mindset, or like that's something you do, then it's not a point where you just don't do it. Like that's part of your life. And yeah, I didn't think that it was something that I would just, being a part of it, just no longer be a part of it. Like I didn't think that was really, I didn't really think about whether or not it was possible, but deep down, I don't think I thought it was possible, if that makes any sense to y'all. But then it kind of made sense because I'm like, Trinity, will, when Twitter was still a thing for your generation, back like that was like freshman, sophomore year of college for me. That was what, 2011, 12, 13, that era, right? Twitter was like a thing. It wasn't Instagram heavy. Was Snapchat even out? Don't know. Anywho, and I just randomly, I don't even remember why, but I randomly remember while it was still a thing, I was like, no, I'm not doing Twitter anymore. And I never looked back. It wasn't until I started teaching, my first teaching position 7 years ago. Baby, you are kind of seasoned. You a little mature. Like you've been in a career field for 7 years. But no. And we had to make a Twitter for work. That was when the decision, I guess, for not students, parent choice as far as where they send their children to school. That whole thing was a thing. And charter schools became popular. So marketing, districts marketing themselves. Sorry, y'all, my stuttering, like I really be having a lot of things. My mind be working faster than my mouth. So I'll be having to like stop, process, slow down, right? But anywho, it was part of branding. So we had to like start branding our schools, and like they're like, every employee needs to have a Twitter and like tweet every day and tweet what's going on in your classroom and like tweet the great things and tweet this and that. And like, I deleted my Twitter. Like I don't want to, well, this is your professional Twitter. So they got me. So I was turned into a Twitter teacher for a little bit, but I was not. I don't know, I just passed it. I'm just like, I don't feel compelled to do this. So going back to the point at hand, yeah, it reminded me that I could, like, if I wanted to not do social media, I could. And I just was like, it felt good. Like, yeah, bro, if you didn't want to. Because I feel like a lot of people be like, if I didn't want to smoke, I don't have to smoke. But then they like, really, they do. Like, they don't be quitting. And then when they try to stop, like, they don't. So it's like, could you really? So I'm like, are you one of them people who thinks, like, I could get off social media? Like, can you really? And I can't. I did it. Number 6. This is an important one. This is a personal one to me. And it's where the whole concept, in a sense, for my channel came from. I'd much rather be appreciated for my mental than my physical at this point in life. I'm gonna put the computer down for a second. I want to talk to y'all about that one. I think I'm gonna do a whole video on that in general. But no, I know my like slogan for my channel is "Pretty Woman, Prettier Mind," and I mean that heavily. Like, I'm very pretty, you know. I'm a beautiful woman. I understand that, right? Physical beauty. And I'm like, Instagram for me, that was kind of like what is being promoted. Like the physical aspect is a place to house pictures. It's a place for, I feel like, more videos now, but it's really, I feel like, focused on the physical aspect. And of course you can make what you wanted, but I feel like that was kind of the objective with it. And I got to a point where I don't want to focus on my physical as much. And I get you can use it for what you want, but that's what I had been using it for, right? Pictures of me, videos of me doing stuff. And I just was like, I want to identify more with like, what's up here with my mind. I want to show people how pretty my mind is. And that, I really felt that. Like that is, let's just say, epiphany that came to me during my detox. Like, you know what? Pretty woman, prettier mind. Like, I want you to see how pretty this is, because this is very pretty. And I feel like she don't be getting as much credit as like she be getting. So let me like put her out there. Like, how do I put her out there in her rare, raw form and let people experience her? So that's what I learned. That's something that thought came to me. And that's something I had to think about. And then, here's my channel. So, and like I said, videos to come about the whole pretty woman, prettier mind concept and all of that. I need to put that on my list. And then number 7, the final one. And this looks like it's a given, but I hesitated to put it on here because I feel like when people be saying stuff like this, they sound so bitter and butthurt. So disclaimer, I'm not bitter and butthurt. So let me work on my tone for how I'm about to deliver this. The people who genuinely care about you. I'm such a clown. I play all day. Okay. The people who genuinely care about you will be there with or without social media. I think that was a good tone. With or without social media. And most people are not concerned about you, and that is okay. All right, I like that tone. So yeah, I'm not butthurt about that. That's something I feel like you kind of know. But once again, certain things were confirmed for me. And yeah, like my friends and my family who cared, they reached out. And the ones who weren't worried about me, they weren't worried about me. And it was like no hostility, no animosity, no anger. But it just was confirmation that, like what I was saying earlier, we just don't be actively thinking about most people in our day-to-day like that. But if they're there in our face on our timeline, that's one thing. Like, it makes us nosy or it makes us engaged. I mean, you're right here, you post it, why not? But if you're not there, out of sight, out of mind, that whole concept, it was true. Like, you out of sight, you out of their minds. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. But that was just the other thing. They're like, duh, yeah. That's kind of how that works. And I felt no way about that. And there's people who, like, when you come back, they'll ask, like, oh, you know, where you was at? Where you was okay? I mean, where were you at? Are you okay? That type of stuff. So that's cool. It is what it is. But that was just my other, like, number 7. And bonus one, I realized my little sister is my best friend. I really love her. I like that little girl. She's not on social media. But like me and her, our relationship been growing. She's 23. And yeah, we just was talking and I'm like, I like her. Like, and I realized that's when I thought about, and what made me say that is because I thought about some of the places that I spent my time. And a lot of my time was just on the phone talking to her. I'm like, I really enjoy this. In the absence of my social media, this is something I really do enjoy. And it's meaningful. And I'm here for it. So yes, that is why I did my 7-week detox from social media. Those are some of the 7 most valuable insights, lessons that I learned from it. And do I recommend it? I do. I really do. I recommend it. I think it's worth a try. But I'm big on experiences. So I say experience anything that's not going to kill you once. Why not? But yeah, and would I do it again? Oh yeah, I definitely will. But I don't want it to be not strategic. I don't want it to be a like planned thing, a routine thing. Like I don't want it to be every 3rd month for 7 weeks, Trinity is going to take a social media detox. No, I don't want it to be that. It's just going to be, if I start feeling like that again, or have any other type of feeling that makes me say, you know what, I want to step back from this, then I'll do it. Like, I will honor what my spirit needs. And if that is a social media detox, and that's what's going to be. So yes, social media detox. If you were curious, if you were wondering, that's what it was. That's what it is. No, yeah, thanks guys. Bye-bye.